evening, everyone. Welcome to Method in Madness, episode 17. Thank you, everybody, all of you who have joined us from all over the country and perhaps the world. Today, we are going to talk about parenting and talk about bringing up resilient children. Parenting is madness for sure. Those who are parents over here who are watching us, parenting is nothing less than madness. So, and there is always a method to that. All of us have been using those methods. Our parents have used them. And today we're going to learn a little bit more to make our parenting a tad bit more effective. Raising resilient children. Why do we need resilient children? We need our children to face challenges with courage. And we need to make sure that they are handling setbacks and coping up with stress which comes into their life uncalled for. To talk about resilience, to talk about how to build resilience, and to share her method with us, we have Aditi Shivran Chachta. Aditi is a transformation coach. She's a parenting coach, and she has worked extensively with corporates. She's an NLP trainer as well, and she has been conducting workshops all over the country on parenting, meeting parents, listening to their concerns, and helping them deal with this madness. Thank you, Aditi, for joining us.
Thanks, Vaishali. Pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Aditi, thank you so much. And this is a topic that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. Last week, we had the conversation was on Kalari Petu, which was purely on martial arts and how through martial arts also we can build resilience. But here we would like to explore a little bit more on the parenting front, and maybe some teachers. There are a lot of teachers who are watching us today. Something with the teachers also that they can apply in school, in class. And now that, school is at home, all children are connecting through, the internet, sitting at home. I think teachers here can also play a very big role in bringing up resilient children during these times. Yeah. So let's begin our conversation. Just to let all our audience members know that Aditi and I are going to talk for another 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes. And during our conversation, please feel free to write your comments. And if you have any questions on the comment section below, we will be taking your questions and comments right after our conversation. So yes, thank you, Aditi, and let's begin.
Thanks, Vaishali, for bringing about this opportunity as well. To talk about such a pertinent topic. Just like a couple of years back in the corporate space, the buzzword was around innovation and learning agility and all of that. Now it's all about VUCA and resilience, and on the other side, wellness and mindfulness. So these things are really picking up, and there is the current situation that we are in itself is one where all of us in some way or the other are modeling resilience, right?
Absolutely.
And so are our children. It's an unprecedented time. It's a complete VUCA world, as you say, completely volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And if I have to talk about resilience, in fact, before I do, to all the people who have tuned in, it'll be really nice to hear from them as to what is that one word or two words with which that they could define resilience. What is resilience to them? Please put in your comments that
please put in your comments. I'm going to check them. Yeah.
So what is it that comes to your mind when the word resilience comes up? What crops up in your mind at that point? What do you relate it with?
I think for me, it'll be strength.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be not giving up.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much in line. I'm not sure what the other people have put in, or are they, please do keep participating through the session. It will be really
Yes.
nice.
Yeah, but we can continue because the comments will keep coming, and we
coming.
take them as them come. Yeah.
Great. So if I have to talk about resilience, I would like all of you to, go into a boxing ring. Place yourself in a boxing ring, and where you have an opponent, and then there is you. Okay. And in that situation, there are two things at play. There are two factors at play that can make you win the match. Okay. One is how fast, or how, how powerfully can you pack a punch. Okay. And the other is, because the opponent is also going to do that. So the other is how fast, how flexibly, like Savita is saying,
Yes.
how flexibly can you get back up and be in the game. Yeah, composure in an adverse time. Absolutely. And like you said, Vaishali, not giving up. So there is a very interesting saying by a Japanese author, and the author was actually autistic. Naomi Higashida, if I'm not wrong, is his name, and he wrote a book by this name. Fall 7 times, but stand up 8. Okay. In Japanese, it's said as Nana Karobi Ya Oki. That was the title of the book. And this guy was autistic. He could hardly express himself in any other manner but written word. So his entire thing of coming up with this book itself showcases the resilience that he had in it, right? And that is exactly what it is. So it's the endurance part. It's not the packing the punch part. It's actually the getting back up, failing, being down and out, but not giving up. Getting back up again and again, and trying harder again and again. Being in the game, which is a long-term game. Quick bounce back. Yeah, and whether it's quick or not is one point, but a bounce back for sure.
Yes, bouncing back is for sure. Yes, what you just said, Aditi, about long term.
Yeah.
I think this is something that all of us need to focus on, because in today's time, we always look for, quick, instant results, quick results, something that can be achieved in a short period of time, and yet be, the durability of that should be long term.
Absolutely.
And I always keep telling people that crash courses, just like crash courses, don't help. Anything which is a short duration can only help you move a little further than where you are, but will never leave a lasting impact. So, I mean, what do you have to say about that? I mean, this whole thing of jaldi, everything quick, how do parents deal with this? Because this is how even in school, you have to quickly submit these assignments, and you have to quickly do this, quickly do that. Everything is so quick, and it's a competitive.
Yeah, it's a fast pace.
It's fast paced. How do you then navigate through this situation?
Yes. See, on one hand, we are pressurizing our kids with doing things fast, and so is the education system. Everything is moving fast. Our lives are moving fast, and that speed, somewhere we also, the pressure of that speed, the need for speed, we transfer it to our kids because they are watching us. And all of us do it with the idea that we want a certain discipline, a certain momentum in our child's life as well, which is great. But it is when it moves to the zone of stressing and not causing the desired impact, in fact, causing a negative impact, that's where we need to watch the red flag. And in terms of instant gratification, that is like suiting our comfort. That's what we do in most situations ourselves. If we are doing that, and we are in fact trying to also, on the other side, one side is the pressurizing side, the other is where we are trying to provide everything instantly to our kids, without them fishing for it, and we talk about it. We'll talk about it more during the session, where we are not giving them the skills to really go hunt, and really sit with their disappointments and all of that. We are, in one side we're pressurizing them, on the other we are trying to create a very ideal situation for them, which doesn't really replicate the world out there.
Yeah, and I think, the expectations also that parents set. That your child is just 7, but you want the child to write a story, read it, learn it, speak it, and perform it at the same time. It's like that. I can talk from that point of view because I am into drama, so I do this kind of work. And there is such hurriedness in parents, and this is something that is there. We can't help it somehow.
The thing is, Vaishali, sorry, you were saying something.
I was saying that this anxiety that we have as parents, how do we deal with that? I think
absolutely.
If you could just tell us a little bit about how do we as parents first build our own resilience and then model.
Yes. See, first I'll talk a bit about the anxiety piece, which comes up every time resilience comes up. The thing is, there are three mirages that we all are running after, which are actually impossible to achieve, but unfortunately we are kind of, the current generation is wired towards it. First is perfection, and that puts pressure on yourself. You want to be a perfect parent as well, you want your child also to be, so it's both ways, right? And because of that, we end up not even performing to our normal capacity. And the same thing happens for our children, gaining the momentum when there is a feeling of lagging back. Okay, what's resilience? And we are getting answers still. So the first thing to shun is that perfection within ourselves as parents, and in our kids as well, because that is the major cause of anxiety. And the second thing I'll talk about is validation. We are constantly trying to look for validation outside. It is but natural that a child will look for validation from their parents, because they are the foundation of the child. They are the environment that the child grows up in initially, and their character is defined by that. But when we start looking for validation from all and sundry, and we want all our peers to think a certain way, all the people around us, everybody in our family to think of us a certain way, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure and can cause a lot of anxiety. So that's another thing, slowly and steadily one has to shun. And parents can do that for their kids by, letting them be in the driver's seat, asking their opinion rather than saying, oh, so and so will feel so don't do it. No, how would you feel if you do a certain thing? It should the place source should be the child, and the third part is about control. Now that we are also trying to control, and some bit of this is linked with the perfection aspect. We want certain things to be a certain way, and typically that is our way. So we are in that control. We are actually not partnering with our children in building that bond. And it's not just about that relationship. I think any relationship should be based on a partnership model rather than a control model, because control will only disappoint us. And that disappointment then becomes the base through which the kids grow. And how will they be resilient in that kind of with that kind of disappointment sitting within them? So these three things definitely, slowly and steadily, we need to get rid of through certain practices, which we will, talk about as we go ahead.
So anxiety is definitely there. I mean, it's an issue, and somewhere I think all parents also recognize it. It's not that we don't recognize it, even with teachers, because an anxious adult who's there in the child's environment is equally harmful. Just like you can look at internet or any other gadget, an anxious parent or an anxious adult also causes the same kind of anxiety in the child. But to build a resilient child, suppose definitely we have to model, as parents, we have to model resilience. But is there any particular idea that we can begin thinking from?
Yes,
maybe
yes.
maybe elements which you could share with us, and maybe we can pick one end and then start working towards resilience. Where can we start?
Absolutely. So, Vaishali, basically, there are 5 pillars. More or less, resilience would be linked with these 5 in some manner or the other. The very first one is adaptability. I spoke about VUCA at the beginning, and I spoke about change, managing adversity, a difficult situation. So adaptability is the major piece of pillar of resilience, and we must definitely talk about that in detail. Then you have confidence and an inner confidence, coming out of your unique talents. So that is one, something that we need to build in ourselves and in our children, and there are ways to do that. Then we have positivity, living our lives in the present moment and seeing the positive in things, because our brains are typically wired towards anticipating danger. So trying to constantly nurture positivity in daily life, how do we do that? There are quite a few practices. There are gratitude practices and quite a few others that we need to we need to watch what we say. We need to think very consciously positively. So that's another. And the other two are partnership. I spoke about that a bit.
Yes.
And partnership in the way we communicate and in our relationships. And finally, there is stamina. I call it stamina, but it's got a lot to do with certain practices which you do, which are your core on a daily basis, which keep you mentally, emotionally, physically fit and grounded. So and centered. So that no matter what is happening around you, you are strengthened from inside. You have something constant to constantly go back to. It could be a hobby, it could be silent time in the day, or it could be, so kind of building that practice for our kids as well, whatever it is that their interest is, helping them pursue it so that that becomes their pillar of support during tough times. And so these are probably the 5 pillars.
5 pillars. Yeah, I'm sure that parents who are watching us are somewhere making that little effort in all these 5 areas. I see that.
I would be happy to know, actually from the parents as to what is it that they are doing consciously to build resilience in their children.
Maybe,
because
please,
I'm sure all of us are. And
no, maybe some more, some less. Maybe they are doing a lot of positivity and very little of adaptability. Maybe a lot of stamina, but very little of positivity. So maybe there's a balance that we need to strike. And if you could just tell us a little bit about what and how do we achieve that balance, and maybe expand on one of the pillars of resilience. And in the meanwhile, if all of you who are watching us could type down what you're already doing to build resilience in your children, so that we can then take your input and then carry the conversation ahead. Yes, Aditi.
Yes. So I think I'll talk a bit about confidence to start with, okay? Before we move into adaptability. Because confidence is the definition of the child. Confidence would come very handy as we move forward. Now, basically, there's this interesting quote by Albert Einstein. He says that if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it will lead its life thinking it's stupid. So similarly, the first and foremost thing for us to do, apart from shunning those 3 evils or mirages of perfection, control, and validation, is not to superimpose our dreams on our kids. So we have to be firstly conscious of, confident about ourselves, and know our unique strengths, and also be able to see the unique strengths of our child. And for that, there needs to be a certain amount of exposure, a certain amount of clarity, and certain amount of constant positive feedback going to the child about certain actions or certain talents and capabilities that they are constantly displaying. So that I should be there at the same time watching, what they may be not doing right. But we need to give them that inner strength of confidence about
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, because confidence is such a wide term. It's a very
Yeah.
loose term. You are confident with something, and then you're not confident about something at the same time. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and somewhere I feel the more clarity you get
Yes.
about a particular idea or a thought, you get more confident in that. So
Yeah.
I think maybe if a parent, I don't know, I mean, you can just maybe share your thoughts on this, but if a parent can help find more clarity of thought
Yeah.
on anything that the child is speaking, probably then it will somewhere lead to confidence building in that particular area. Rather
Yes,
than
absolutely.
blatantly going and saying that, my child is not confident, or I don't feel confident myself. Maybe we should look for clarity. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that comes from a very appreciative way of inquiring about it,
Yeah.
rather than, starting from point zero, rather than putting your own thoughts into into the child's mind. So there has to be a lot of conversation happening. There is a lot of exploration that should happen. But at the same time, what's happening currently is that we are going overboard with oversubscribing our kids to various things that are happening around.
Yeah.
This class, this tuition, that talent. Even in talent, there is,
Yes,
literally the
the
word I would use is
competition.
maramari.
Yes, and
you know,
there are some parents who actually put in that extra effort. They
yeah.
take their children to specialists for training in for these competitions.
And no, but yeah, see that putting in the effort is the part that's missing on the side of the kids. We are not allowing them, we are pressurizing them. At the same time, they are not from their heart putting in that
Willing to
effort.
do
So,
it. Yeah.
right. So that willingness will come through conversation, through and by giving it some time and so on. And when I say confidence, I it is a broad term, but what I really mean is a clarity and a focus towards one or two unique strengths of your own. It could be a sport that you play, or it could be a subject that you excel in, or it could be just something that's you, that you love doing. And supporting the child to persevere there, rather than be a jack of all trades. And or rather, nowadays we want the kids to be masters of all trades,
All trades. Yes.
which is a trap. So that is on confidence. And we at the same, like, clarity is there, then we need to have affirmations. We need to have the kid believe that they are actually good at it, feel good about doing it, and take initiative when those opportunities come up where they can showcase their talent. So it has to be a consistent effort over a period of time. That is one base. And the second pillar is very, very critical. Actually, that's the main one, which is adaptability. So if we can just possibly even show the slide on adaptability, it would be
Okay.
nice. I have something there.
All right. So, do you want the adaptability slide or the
Yeah,
list of the? You want the list or the
yeah,
adaptability?
adaptability
Okay.
slide. Yeah,
All
the
right.
first one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few pointers out here, and one by one, I'll quickly we can discuss these, Vaishali.
Sure.
Right? Would that be good?
Sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
And please, the audience, whoever is watching us right now, please do keep commenting whatever is coming to your mind. Please ask the question.
Yeah.
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 So first and foremost is stretching and learning. Okay, we need to make sure. So what we do as parents is we try to make things easy for our kids on one hand, and on the other, like I said, we also pressurizing them with certain other things. But what gets missed out there is thinking out of the box, going beyond, and trying to you know constantly have that curiosity, because resilience is very much linked to that curiosity. If you don't have that urge to want to go beyond, how are you going to get back up and bounce forward? It's actually never bouncing back. It's you always bouncing forward. So making sure that the kid is learning something new and never feeling like a know-it-all. That's one aspect that again linked to the our perfection syndrome. We are very happy to hear this from a child that I know this and I know that, but that curiosity and that groundedness to want to constantly go further, constantly learn, that is a key aspect of resilience. And for that we must ensure that yes, they are consistently moving forward in some activity or at their whether it's whatever. It could be even a social skill. It could be in terms of if a kid is extremely shy, and over a period of time we are seeing that kid make efforts towards going into situations which may be uncomfortable for them, or trying something new. We must step back and appreciate that need to learn.
So,
Please,
Aditi, yeah, you have mentioned here anchor statements.
yes.
Yeah, can you please tell us a little bit about anchor statements and what are
That
those?
is
Yeah.
Yes. So I'll actually start off with an example of an anchor statement. As a child, and even till date, whenever I'm having a conversation with my mom on something, and I'm looking for some advice, or I'm just looking for some input, and I hear this line, everything happens for a reason. That's an anchor statement. This will pass. This tough time will pass. And I realized, interestingly, my daughter is just about 4.5 years old. But since always, I have been saying this to her whenever she's in a situation where she's not getting something and getting very fidgety or anxious because of it. I say to her, every problem has a solution. That's an anchor statement. And interestingly, one of the days I was trying to fix the remote or something I was trying to fix, and I was not getting it. I was like, how does this thing work? How am I going to get this, fix this? And she said, Mama, relax. Every problem has a solution. So those become literally like a walking stick which takes us on the positive chain of thought towards problem solving.
And this is this is very, very important, because there's not just your mom, but when I remember my grandmother, saying these anchor statements, it'll be all right.
Yes.
The anchor statement that we have over here in the northern part of India, koi baat nahi. Koi baat nahi. So initially when I used to, hear this, ki koi bhi bol raha hai ki haan, koi baat nahi, I used to be like, acha, koi baat nahi, all right, koi baat nahi. Then this anchor statement actually made a huge difference in the way I look at life.
It's very powerful. So just like affirmations are something we consciously do, anchor statements actually become our anchors in tough times, which actually help us. So what is adaptability all about? It is actually about problem solving, because a tough situation has come up. It's also about decision making. It's also about staying calm. It's also about expressing our emotions and not getting rattled with what we are going through. So anchor statements are that, and we must build that within ourselves and our kids. So we will mirror. They will mirror us. We will mirror them. And
I'm sure all of our audience members who are watching us also have some kind of an anchor statement.
Yeah, it'll be nice to hear from them as to what, because it's very important to know consciously what is your anchor statement. And anchor has to be positive, right? If you're anchored into anxiety, then your statement could be on the negative side, and that has a very negative impact on the child as well, in terms of making them adaptable. It kind of shuts their brain towards thinking towards about problem solving.
Can you tell us a little bit about an example of a negative anchor statement?
Yeah, it could be that, oh, you made this mistake again. It could be that, oh, you did this again. Instead of that, we would rather be silent, But we do that inadvertently. All of us have somewhere or the other. We do it. But it's about our awareness first. towards the statements that we are constantly repeating in our minds or they're coming on our lips. So that is a negative one. Or something like, I'm wasting my time here. You're just
Yeah.
not getting it. You will never get it. This is a very disempowering statement to make to ourselves. And all is well, yes,
Yes.
perfect. That reminds me of Three Idiots. All is well is the best affirmation or anchor statement that you can say. You can do it.
can do
I'm with
it.
you. Wonderful, wonderful, rather.
Mm.
That's a very encouraging one for the child. You can do it. You're in the driver's seat, and I'm backing you up.
No problem. Best anchor statement.
Yes,
Best
yes.
No
in
problem.
Fact, in fact, Kalyani, my statement of every problem has a solution starts with this: no problem. Every problem has a solution, and there's a tone that goes along with the. So
Yes.
it's a very interesting one. So when you all go back today, I would really want you to think of one or two of these, and next time you use it, you feel so great about it. And you see the smile on your child's face as well. Then that becomes their tool, literally an arrow in their quiver. Let's explore. Wonderful. So here, one of the things I've mentioned is the I don't know method. Okay, and that's all about exploration. What happens is we are constantly under pressure to be the perfect parents, and we constantly wanting to answer everything for them. Obviously, some bit is our responsibility, but at sometimes we speak for them. Sometimes we I mean, it's easy for us to know a lot of things, but we don't let them fish for the answer. And this also is linked with another point here, bye to instant gratification. Instead, let's go fishing together,
Yeah.
So this fishing together, exploration is very important. And sometimes when our kids ask something, instead of answering every time with an answer, sometimes we should say, I don't know, maybe it could be this way. What do you think? Let's explore, let's find the solution together. So that is one. And the other one, I was talking about the fishing aspect. We're providing everything. We're literally spending lesser time, but we are buying more gifts. We are doing all of that, which ends up kind of leaving the child constantly feeling entitled. And that is a major folly that on our part, because when the situation is really bad, then feeling entitled is not going to help you stand back up. Yeah, you need to build that muscle of. And another way of doing that is using rewards sparingly, letting them earn what they're doing. Obviously basics are already sorted, but small things make a difference. And also,
Sorry. Yeah.
You were saying
when to give the reward? How to decide and what work is worth rewarding? Worth putting a price to.
Yeah, see, I mean, at the end of the day, it could be something very value oriented that may make you want to reward. Every parent has their own. You need to figure out what your mix is. But again, there needs to be a balance of the kind of things you're rewarding as well. It should not always be an accomplishment on say marks in school that you're the only thing that you ever reward on. There should be a mix. Then the kid also tries to strive for that mix within their character. So we should be conscious about that. It could be a very good behavior on the child's part, or showcasing a value of honesty at a time when the child could have lied easily, which you end up rewarding in a different way to the child. So there needs to be we need to figure out what works for us. And again, one point of adaptability is for the kid to be able to, two things actually. One is to be able to express their tough emotions. And we'll talk a bit more about that in this section. And that has got a lot to do with us not invalidating their feelings. A lot of times the kid expresses a difficult emotion and we completely put a balm on it, saying, "Naini, you can't be scared of this. This is not scary." But it's scary to the child. Rather, the let's explore hat can be worn, and we can say, let's figure out what's scaring you about this,
Mm.
or something like that. If the kid is, say,
Yeah.
learning swimming, maybe instead of
Mm.
pushing the child, we can just let the child enjoy it on their own and figure things out, because it
Mm.
is scary. Learning stretching is scary. But that's one. And the second thing was letting them hear no's also sometimes, similar
Yes.
to
Very important.
fishing. And I don't know, it's we are constantly trying to say yes to them, and we are constantly trying to back them up, not letting them explore the risk, not letting them understand the consequences, or the value of things. So every time we are not obliged to say yes to them. In fact, we should be equally using the yeses and the nos.
But Aditi, our modern parenting has been, has been going in a direction
Positive
where
psychology.
the moment you say no to a child, there are bouts of anger and tantrum and crying and nagging, and teenagers are shutting the door on the face, refusing to eat, refusing to do things. How does a
Absolutely.
parent kind of handle that? How does a parent handle a tantrum, which is, I think, the obstacle? If that is broken, then resilience can be built very effectively.
Yes, absolutely. See, firstly, like they say, there is the psychologist Erik Erikson, who had done a study on the different stages of the child's development, and
Yeah.
in the first 5 to 8 years, in fact, till 8 years is the crunch time. And if we have already started unconsciously messing up and thinking all is fine, we will see
Mm.
the effect of it in the teen years, for sure. So by then the damage is already done, if all of these things are happening. Then there is a lot of damage control that the parent and the child would need to do, to
Together.
get things back. Yeah,
Mm.
together, definitely. It's not just the parent, then it's the child as well, who will need to suddenly work a different way or behave a different way over a period of time. But I think this is actually a result of, if a child is doing this, it's actually a result of the way the equation has been from the beginning. If they have always heard yeses, if they have never sat in their discomfort, when that discomfort is posed to them, it receives this
Backfires.
response. Yeah. Instead, a good way, when I say no, it is not a harsh no. It's actually a no saying that, no, I don't think it's a great idea because this. And there are certain things for which they may not be explained as well. For example, sometimes because of the entitled feeling, or because of the free, democratic setup that we provide to our children, which is great. Sometimes we end up explaining everything to them,
Everything to them. Yes.
and so they feel entitled for explanations too. And in a tough situation, nobody will come and explain why this happened. Life can be harsh, and then at that point, better to focus on what to do to go ahead, rather than fix the blame, or trying to figure out why this has happened logically.
And there'll be no point in blaming as well. I
Absolutely.
mean,
So better way
blaming will
to,
not, yeah,
yeah,
help.
better way to do it is to explain the no when required, and say a polite no on the other, and stick your ground. What we do is we say
Mm.
something, but we then completely put a balm on it. That completely confuses the child. That has got to do with the way we are handling the tough situation, actually. So first we need to put our seatbelts on, and then move towards this piece. And also, another thing on adaptability, I would say, is that kids should be encouraged to share. A lot of us are now having one
One
child
child.
instead
One
of
child.
two,
Yeah.
one child, and that child is getting everything, all the attention, all the amenities, everything, all the love and care, which is great. But then consciously, this aspect needs to be focused on, where the kid is in situations where they are, working collaboratively with others. So that social skill of sharing is a major aspect which helps build adaptability, because sharing instantly means something taken away. but it also is building that muscle of hope that because I'm also sharing, I will also get something somewhere down the line. So that instant gratification thread is broken when we share, you know. And another thing I would say is that let them fail. Somebody said sometime back, let it's okay, or like you also said, theek hai, kuch nahi hota, no problem. We need to be okay with failure, uh, because all of it is training. Like in a physical training, you constantly get punched and then you get back up. Physically, that's what you're doing. You know, when you're in a, say, if you're learning self-defense, you will be getting a lot of punches. You have to get used to getting the punches. And this is just an analogy I'm taking, okay? And then the punch is basically a disappointment. So let them sit with their disappointment. Don't go around with a band-aid with to every solution that you can provide to them. Let them fish and learn how to express themselves in their disappointed situation. You know? And these tantrums actually start very early, and that's when a lot of parents follow the CIO method. Cry it out. You cry it. Let the kid. If the kid is uncomfortable and crying, the parents feel so uncomfortable. They want to just solve the whole situation. But you got to be sitting with that discomfort as a parent too, and see what the child does in that situation. Do they come back to you to talk to you? Do they stop crying and doing something else? Do they regain their calm and composure and engage themselves in some other activity? All of those are positive signs. We should let them, give them that space to do that.
Aditi, you mentioned about yes, go on, please.
Sorry. The last point I'll just make is let things be unstructured. We make a lot of rules, which is very important. At the same time, even a simple thing like rearranging the schedule for a day, or not having a plan for a day, letting them plan something. Or if you have a very interesting thing coming up, you should also have a backup that maybe this doesn't happen, so then our plan B is so and so. Brainstorm with them. Simple thing like if you're watching a movie, think about what could have been if this thing had not happened, or what could be the other possibilities. Situation reactions. Constantly, build that newness muscle in them. Yeah, basically. You were saying something, Vaishali.
Yes, I was saying that you had mentioned bouncing forward. So I presume it has to do a lot with how to cope.
Yes, that's right.
So is there any method that we can follow? Any process that we can follow to bounce forward?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would like to show a slide out here of being in a tough situation, or rather I would say a stressful situation, and how you can recover back from it. So there is a 5-step process there, which I call the 5R process. It's relax, redirect, reflect, reconnect, and revel. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Basically, you're in a meltdown situation, something where you're going to lose your cool as a parent, or your child. It could be your child, right? This is something that they will also learn by modeling. So it's a great tool for parents to start following during parenting, right? The first step is when you're posed with a trigger which has, kind of blown your mind, and you're just about to lose your cool.
Yes.
Yeah. You need to relax. And I'm not expecting anybody, or nobody can relax emotionally when they are charged up negatively. That's not the point. But you need to actually physically relax, which means when you're in that situation, typically you will see some trigger, a bodily trigger. It could be response to the trigger, basically. It could be that your heart rate goes up, or you clench your teeth or your hands. It could be anything. Or you feel a little warmer than usual. You're sweating. All of these are signs of a stressful situation that you're about to get into, and you're about to blow off. So relaxing is actually physically, and how can you do that best is, the Almighty has gifted us with a centering mechanism of breathing. Just simply deep breathing, or physically move out of that place. It could be just for 5 minutes. And there's also something on walking meditation. There are a lot of things that you can do. You need to figure out what's your relaxation mechanism. It could be going out for a drive alone, just saying, I need a timeout. It's a timeout. I need a timeout, but we will talk about this later. You have to have that. For that you need to also know your triggers. But more than that, you need to know that when you see your body go that way, do something to relax yourself. The second thing is redirect. Now, what happens, and this is very important for kids also to learn. Redirect is very important because it is about engaging yourself in something completely different, which kind of energizes you to think in a forward state about that problem at hand. Rather than engaging and trying to solve it there and then, again, instant gratification. Instead of looking for that, we'd rather redirect, take some time off and do something else. It could be whatever that you do. It could be work that you do. It could be cooking. It could be painting, whatever that you do. Talk to a friend or just do nothing, watch TV. That could be redirect. And finally, then reflect. When you're in that calm state, don't forget about what happened, because if you forget about it, it will keep happening and your capacity to relax will not be there every time. It will go lesser and lesser. It's like an antibiotic pill. If you don't take the full course, the impact of that pill is not there on you next time. So go take the entire 5-step course and you start seeing the results. So you've redirected, you're reflecting upon how can I best give what's my best response in this situation, which will actually help us move forward. My kid learns something, me appear much more partnered with them as well. And then the most important, and this is a place where I personally have always found a challenge, and not just in parenting, in any and every relationship. We kind of solve it out on our own, we manage ourselves, we figure it out, but then we do not reconnect and really increase that shared pool of meaning.
Yes.
Then again, the same thing will happen because we think, oh, we figured it out, we are calm and cool now, ab sab theek hai. But वो जो trigger है, वो फिर से आएगा बाद में जाके. Because पूरा antibiotic का course लिया नहीं हमने. So that is the thing, that it's very important to go back there and reconnect with firmness and friendliness. Because by then we have a response ready as well. So it's extremely important to share it and express it. And that also is a point of learning for the child as well. It's a learning for the child also as to how things need to be resolved, and also learning in terms of what they need to do right the next time. And at that point, there is a two-way sharing that will happen. Some bit of which will get you back to the point of the trigger. But it's important to do that. But then you'll still be better off at that situation than trying to engage immediately when something has happened and solve it out there and then. It will go all over. And finally, every time you followed this process, you must pat your back. You must feel good about it and not ignore the effort that you're putting in through this entire thing. So this is the 5-step process. I would be really happy if somebody can take this from here and try it out on their own in certain situations.
Yes, I think we do the first, second, not the second. We skip the second. We maybe do the third.
When it comes to us.
Never reconnect.
That is a major thing, for people who really prefer harmony, and everybody does, but some people more than the others. And it's very tough for those people to re-engage and reconnect. They are okay taking all the, thinking burden on their own and then just going along with that. But that reconnection, re-engagement is very important. And that's actually called a technique of carefrontation. It's not confrontation, it's carefrontation.
Okay.
So that's where these are larger things which we would need to do in a more detailed manner.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that we should explore maybe in a workshop or something, or maybe you and I we can do a workshop where all our,
Absolutely.
everybody who's watching us today can
Yes.
participate, and we can
That'll be
talk to them, meet them face to face online,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
look into the matter
absolutely.
more deeply. Yeah,
Definitely, because this requires a bit of coaching, this requires more discussion. These are
yeah.
tips and tricks, but applying them is where the work is, and it is not always a it's straight ride.
No, 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 it's never. But Aditi, can you share? This is, I think we have to close our conversation in another four
Yes.
minutes because we have overshot.
I know.
But can you give us an example of someone whom you have seen, a change happening in the child after going through these steps, these procedures that you recommend? Any example that you can share with us?
See, frankly, I would say I see myself also as an example. Everybody is in, work in progress.
Yeah.
Um, and I have certain role models as well,
Hmm.
uh, of people who I look up to in terms of the way they parent their children, in the
Hmm.
way that there is a lot for all of us to learn. And what
Hmm.
actually happens, it shows on the child. Our own centeredness actually gets replicated on in the children. So
Absolutely.
there are many parents I've seen go through say a tough patch, and then the child during that patch, the behavior of the child is also negative or
Hmm.
withdrawn or not sure,
Hmm.
because there that constancy of care and guidance has not been there for them, because the parents itself have been somewhat incapacitated during that phase. But once they have the awareness and they started working on these things
Hmm.
together, and it's a partnership actually, when that thing happens, then automatically you see the change in the children. There was I mean, and this is very surreal, and but it happens. Kids actually express their emotions in drawing, if some kid is used to drawing or whatever activity they do. And
Yes.
it's like it's almost uncanny how they end up drawing their emotion. It could be the expression of the that parent, or it could be the something about it. And when the situations change, when the parents are working on a certain thing, you see a completely different scenery that they come out with.
You know what,
So
Aditi? I don't have the image right now because I work with children, and
right,
art and drawing uh, is one of the most important part of my teaching as well. Uh,
right, right,
so
absolutely.
I had asked a few of my children to draw what they felt, and a child drew a sad face, and beneath that sad face she wrote, "I am angry." So
Oh, right.
so that tells us, more about where the anger is coming from. It's coming from sadness. I think, yes,
Hmm.
art is something. I think all parents who are watching us today should go back and ask their children in those times where they're feeling perturbed or uncomfortable, maybe to draw. I mean, parents can get
Absolutely.
a deeper insight that
Yeah,
way.
absolutely. I think we are towards the end of it, but there's one thing I
Yes.
want to talk about before we close. In fact, two, but I don't think we have the time. One is a mood board. So I see some of my friends doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I do it in a very conversational manner with my child because she is quite expressive. But
Mm-hmm.
some of them do it in terms of they actually have a board in their house where all the family members, on and off, they post how they are feeling. So the
Okay.
parents may not always do it. They may do it just for their kids also to get into the habit. But the kid then gets a space to say that, yeah, there are some days where I will be unhappy or I will be scared or I'm not feeling good, not feeling like going to school or something, something. So that's a great channel to kind of show that all emotions are okay and you need to kind of express these out. That itself gives you a huge skill to adapt and bounce back.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just leave this conversation with one thing before we get into the questions is the stamina part, the last pillar that I spoke about, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very very important to have certain practices, simple things like sleep, the sleep or certain activities that they do on a daily basis, exercise, a certain balance of exercise, certain kind of diet, certain practices around gratitude that we need to build into a daily routine, so that even on tough days, the kid has some space which is sacrosanct, which also gives them the energy to, and the the mood to think right, to think better about that tough situation. So these habits need to be built into, and sleep is said to be one of the major aspects of um, actually building resilience. So all of that. Music is another.
Music is another. Yes.
On a daily basis, you should spend some time listening to music or just singing together, anything. And I do affirmations in the night sometimes. Sometimes, actually, most days, I actually have an alarm for it. So, thing like that. Just before sleeping, I'm trying to, and my daughter asked me, "What are you doing, Mama?" Like, I'm just saying my prayers. I'm thanking, the day. So that we get, and for the rest of the 8 hours, we are meditating on that while we are sleeping, I guess. So that's very important. The mood before sleeping and the mood on getting up.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Great, Aditi. I mean, we can go on talking about this,
Absolutely. Possibly another hour or maybe even more.
but it's time to close. We'll take a few questions.
Yes,
Mm,
absolutely.
there is a question from Loveleen Mishra. Loveleen is asking, tantrums also are a byproduct of peer pressure.
Yes.
How does one tackle that?
I think, Loveleen, are you a mom of a teenager? Because this seems like, yeah, or at least a teenager, because that's when this starts. And it's very important to communicate with the child instead of upfront telling them that what they are saying is unreasonable, or how they are behaving is not landing well on you. Instead of that, it would be very important to have a more detailed discussion with the child when they are in a better space. Let them express it out. Let them do what they are, and just possibly step back. Like I was saying, the relax and redirect. Do that for yourself while they are expressing themselves, and then really carefront with them. Ask them, explore with them. Why is this thing so important to them? What is it that they gain out? Immediately they'll come up with the reason being that this person has this, or
That's it.
that person does it. So it is very, and all of us have gone through these conversations with our parents as well. And every time, if your solution is every time to actually provide that to them, then they are not learning, neither are they learning life skills, nor are they going to be learning parenting skills. And so it has to be explained that everybody has different realities, and it's very important to watch firstly the kind of group that the child is part of. What are the interact with their parents, and without being a micromanaging parent, it's very important to at least click with a few parents of your child's gang, so that how are they handling it. Because if everybody is giving into peer pressure and your kid is part of that group, you have a very tough road ahead of you. So I would say mingling with the kids a bit, knowing their day to day what's happening, and trying to guide as and when, rather than being shocked by a certain demand which is totally unreasonable and the kid is just not understanding.
Yeah,
So I would say-
conversations are very important.
Yeah, and our responses each time are very important too. How
Yes.
it has ended, the closure, how it has happened is very important. Over a period of time, the child does understand, I guess.
Yeah.
Or has that disgruntled feeling, but takes it, that this is how it is, and somewhere
Yeah.
later down the line, the learning comes to them. That's fine.
I think there's a beautiful conversation going on between Rahul and Shubha, and they're discussing about their children.
Okay.
Yeah, and Shelley is thanking us for this conversation. Thank you, Shelley, for those lovely words.
Thanks, Shelley.
If there is any other question, we still have time to take one more question. So if you have any other question, please type it down. Oh, yes. Savita has written her question, how to develop resilience in special needs children.
So personally, I have not actually dealt with this particular topic, but I think again in this particular situation, the parents themselves being resilient, they are actually in a situation where they need to really work upon modeling that. I think first step is that for all, but in this particular situation, all the more.
Yes, and
And
also if there's a special needs child at home, then definitely you have a therapist also at hand.
exactly. So this would
I
need to be taken.
Yes, to a professional, and ideal would be the child's therapist, because I've worked with special needs children,
Okay.
and I have seen that each child gets gets close to a particular therapist, or responds to a particular therapist. So working with the therapist who's working with the child already would be the ideal thing to do in this case, because it cannot be only a parent working at home. It has to be a three-way thing. It has to be the child, parent, and the teacher, a therapist in your case, Savita. But definitely go and talk to the therapist about resilience, because yes, special needs children definitely need to build
Need
resilience
special,
like
yeah.
anybody else. It's nothing like they don't and they do, we do and they don't. It's not that. But definitely go and talk to your therapist, and I think she will be a better, or he will be a better guide for this. Shubha
I
is
think
saying
Shubha
my
had a
question is
question.
up there. Yeah, I can't see
How
her.
do we encourage them to find their passion? Hope that they figure out their interest over a period of time. Now,
Yes.
so like I said, in the very initial stages, when in the 0 to 8 year time period, there is a lot of exploration that can be done with the child by exposing them to a lot of stuff, whether it is art and in different ways, not every time with the intent of you need to learn XYZ, in a very fun manner, in a very natural blended sort of a manner, and that has got to do with our own interests too. Like, I'll just take my example. Like, I practice yoga, and I did not ever, I had to take my daughter to my yoga classes sometimes because there was no other place to leave her. So she was the only child in that class, and what she used to do is draw during that time. She used to take her colors, and she used to do that. But what she does now, without me telling her, is trying a headstand. On her own, she'll be doing the butterfly. So it's about the interests that we have, which actually end up becoming somehow their, interest as well at times, or something close to it that they start liking. So it's very important to expose them and then ask them, and then tell them that if you choose this as your interest, there is this kind of effort that it will go into it. Are you
Yes,
ready for
very
it?
important.
Because
Very
now,
important.
just like a
Hmm.
gym membership, what we're doing is, with the interest, is paying here and there, and ho gaya sab, self actualization ho gaya. No, it in fact stresses you out. Rather, you don't get into anything, but till the time the kid comes up to you saying that, this is something that I love to do and I really want to learn it. It could be, if nothing, magic. It could be magic that they want to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let the fish be the fish. Let's hear from the fish's mouth. Let that burning need be there, because it's a lot of effort to pursue an interest and passion. Frankly, I'll tell you, all of us, some of us are still trying to figure out ours. Lucky
Hmm.
are those who have figured out, and you know it when you have. So share examples, all of that helps. Your own examples also, how you started developing a passion for something.
Hmm.
Like that.
Ramesh is asking a question. I think I will take this question, Ramesh. How to tackle a child who has both parents, um, physically disabled parents. She feels left out and low. Now, this is a very deep question,
Hmm.
because if the parent is or parents are physically disabled, do they always reiterate this thought that they're physically disabled? I think it has to do with the parents thinking. What do you think, Aditi?
Yes, I think then the child actually ends up playing the parent. If you look at the parent adult child, in this particular situation, it will be the parent child who will be playing the role of a caretaker or a caregiver, rather.
Hmm.
So that is a burden that possibly shouldn't be there only on the, I mean, shouldn't be there heavily on the child. So, yes, a lot of work on the part of the parents would be required in the way they are, giving the
Perceiving
space of,
themselves. No, also
yeah,
perceive themselves. I mean, if
absolutely.
you are physically disabled, then how do you perceive your disability? Is it really a disability? And
Yes.
how strongly do you manifest that out? Because as we were discussing, Aditi, you are always a role model for your child. So
Yes.
if as a parent I am only talking about my disability, then definitely
Hmm.
my child will feel left out, will feel that yes, there's something missing. Maybe
And
that's the
you know
least
what?
reason. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what, Vaishali? So there is a particular age group. I'm forgetting the exact range, but it's very early on, like 3 to 6 years or 3 to 5 years, where kids are prone to blaming themselves for anything wrong that's happening around.
Yes.
So if at that stage that foundation has not been laid, if at that stage they have faced this a lot of you know low mood in the house or some sort of a pressure in the house, then they have actually blamed themselves for it, and then they carry that burden, and later on they don't know why they are doing what they're doing and feeling low about it. The reason is because they have actually attached themselves to that problem in a negative manner. So it's
Yes.
very important at that stage for the parents to keep reiterating that none of this is your fault. This is totally not your fault, and therefore giving them the different space to explore their childhood, as well.
Yes, this
Be
is a
aware.
very good idea. This is a very good point, Aditi. I think Ramesh, you can talk to these parents. You just mentioned that you are a guardian
Hmm.
to their family. Please tell the parents to keep reiterating this to the child that it's not their or her fault.
Yeah.
I think Aditi, this is a very good point.
Because the fault becomes the responsibility, and then the burden, and then the reason for being disgruntled, and somewhere down the line, it explodes, and no one knows the source. The source would be laid very early on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I hope, Ramesh, that helps. So, Aditi, we have come to an end of our discussion. Thank you so much for this wonderful
Pleasure.
conversation.
Thanks,
Uh,
Vaishali. It was my pleasure to be here. It was lovely, talking to you, and I'm so glad that all the parents who've come here to, spend this time.
yes, with us. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so
And
much.
Aditi and I will soon plan another workshop.
Yes.
And we'll announce the workshop. All of you who have attended our webinar today will get a notification of the workshop. And I think we need to talk more on this, Aditi.
Definitely.
This
There's a
is not a
lot.
one webinar. This is not a one webinar
No,
or a one show topic. I
there is
think
a
we,
lot. There is a lot out here.
yeah. Yeah, maybe our audience can suggest points that we can look at in our next webinar whenever we meet Aditi again, or in the
Yes.
workshop.
Yes.
Anything that you would like us to look at, please
Yes.
put it in the comments, and we'll come back and look at it. So
Absolutely.
with this, we come to an end of Method in Madness. Yes, there's a lot of method, the five-step process, and then the five pillars. I think I will take away the anchor statement. I think that is something that really brings in a major change in the way you look at yourself, and the mood board.
Yeah, that is a very fun thing. In fact, even I need to start practicing that because you see so many good things happening around, and
Yes,
I think
I think mood board is
affirmations is a great place to start as well.
very.
Let your child also build their own affirmations, or just ask them at the end of the day, what did you? That's also a good confidence builder. What was the best thing that you did today? or what was the best thing that happened today? That's gratitude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of that. What's the new thing you learned today? What's the stretch? So all of these daily practices are great. How do we identify a child's strength? Somebody's mentioning. Yes,
Oh, that is a very
definitely.
long. That's another
Detailed one.
webinar. This question, yes, we will do that. We'll look at that, Subha. We will look at this one when we look at you're conducting the workshop. But today we have to close, and thank you so much again, Aditi. Thank you everybody who joined us
Thanks,
today.
Vaishali. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, and if we want to follow you, Aditi, where can we find you?
I think LinkedIn is a great place, and I would be happy to connect through Joy of Drama as well. You can reach out to Vaishali, and I will be patched on.
Great, great. So everybody, please log on to our website, take a look at our website. Please like and subscribe our channel. You'll get notifications whenever we have our webinars on the channel. And all these webinars are recorded and listed on our YouTube channel. So please go through all of them. This is the 17th. So thank you so much.
Vaishali. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thanks, everyone.